The name of our episode is Public Enemy. The idea derived from a few of the existing Black Mirror episodes where chips were implanted in the minds of characters and other characters were able to see what they were seeing or what they saw. The main character, a 13-year-old boy named Levi, is in a world where the citizens are monitored through these chips. The public is under the idea that it is for the greater good and will reduce the amount of crime in the society. Behind the scenes, however, there is an idea that this particular government is controlling the actions and state of mind of the society through these chips and releasing of pheromones. Levi has recognized this possibility and is discussing the idea with his friends in a public setting. We watch as his actions unfold into tragedy. This episode goes through themes of control, power struggle, rebellion, and discovery.
So the first scene takes place around where Levi is in the process of getting ready to leave to school. His parents are not around that much, and as Levi leaves home, he says goodbye to them, but they don't say anything. Levi then arrives at school. He is currently in his math class, and his teacher is currently teaching but Levi is distracted. Levi suddenly gets a message from his communicator device that's attached to his arm, and it's from his parents, and they are currently in a foreign country. Levi is so distracted by it while his teacher starts to call him out and tell him you're not paying attention. Then the scene cuts to the lunchroom where Levi meets up with his friend Ramona. He explains to Ramona how the government is controlling, and because of these microchips, they are so controlling and they can't really, be free. So after that scene, it cuts to when he leaves school, and that's when a group of boys comes behind him and confronts him and tells him, you need to keep your thoughts to yourself, which gets Levi very mad, and he starts to punch and shove the leader of the group. That's when a van suddenly comes into the scene and grabs Levi and throws him into the van and drives off.
Levi wakes up alone in a gray jail cell and he's super confused. There's a PA system that cracks on in the corner of the ceiling, and there's a voice on that speaker tells him that he's a threat to the society and he has been isolated. He can now contact with anyone outside only if he can pass the test to prove he can subdue his violent tendencies. The testing will begin tomorrow. The lights shut off. He's alone and is silent. Since 4, Levi awakens. The next morning, the guy takes Levi to a small room with one old computer and a chair in it. Levi sits down and the screen flickers to life. The test is a set of simple morality questions with black or white answers. He starts answering the question. The communicator in his arm lights up after a while. His device starts to communicate with him. He figured that is his friend from school. She tells him that she can still talk to him through his communicator and she will help him escape, but he has to listen carefully. She tells him where is he at right now and how he could escape if the conversation, and all of a sudden the guy from before enters and tells him he has failed the test because he's not supposed to interfere the test with his device. Also, he won't get another chance to test again, at least for a while.
At this point in the episode, we come to Levi, who is completely fed up with the ways that the government has been thwarting and tracking his every move, and he resolves to break the communication chip, or at least get it out of him. So we see him clawing at his neck, or trying to get it out of him. He starts bleeding. It's very painful. It's supposed to be a very gruesome scene, but then we see the government comes in, a bunch of agents hold him down and put him into a straitjacket, confining him, and then they drag him out of the cell. And as he's being dragged out of his cell, we see his friend Ramona being dragged into his cell, and then they bring Levi to a solitary confinement cell where they place him inside, and then his communicator starts acting up, and he eventually gets sick of the constant noise, and he throws himself, with what mobility he has left, he keeps throwing himself into the walls until it breaks the communicator and his arm, and we end with Levi, whose spirit has finally been broken.
So the theme of our episode is government control, and basically the government is trying to take over. They're using chips to control people. It's kind of that age-old idea of the government is trying to keep people subservient, and they do it through technology, which Black Mirror is really good at demonstrating. However, in our episode, basically the chip is implanted to keep people subservient and also passive. And the thing with the characters is that managing characters is a very important task, as well as creating the characters, because you can have any kind of character in a film, but you have to make the audience care about the character. And therein lies the problem, because any character can be in any story, but if the audience doesn't care about it, then they aren't invested in the story. And our character, Levi, is kind of the outcast, kind of the one on the outside. The government doesn't like him. They kind of work against him. The main protagonist, Levi, is kind of that person who can see past what everybody is ignoring, and the government doesn't really want him to do that. And so we find this character to be incredibly relatable, because at some point, as many people would like to deny it, we've all felt that we've been on the outside. We've all felt excluded, and this is kind of Levi's plight, is that he is consistently left on the outside, consistently saying things that people aren't, consistently not taking the path that is easy and ignoring what the government's doing. And so we kind of create this character to be relatable and be understandable, so that people can become invested in not only him but the story around him.